morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are viewing our CEO discussion on sustainability. We are very honored to have Firmenich CEO Gilbert Ghostine as our guest today. Thank you for your time, Gilbert.
Thank you, Victor. It's always a pleasure to connect with you, and thanks a lot for your initiative and your interest in this, highly critical topic.
Thank you, Gilbert. Let us start. So, in your view, what are the game-changing shifts and opportunities arising across sustainability?
Yeah. Look, it's a very good question, Victor. I think, when you talk about sustainability, the way I would think about it, there is a post-COVID, pre-COVID. So this is the way we need to think about it, because there have been a significant acceleration after COVID. If we reflect a little bit, if you look at Davos 2019, January 2019, 4 out of the 5 critical risk topics for CEOs were climate related. So the awareness was already there, but this was turbocharged with COVID. If you think about COVID, the 3 key themes that are emerging post-COVID are climate, the second one is inequalities, and the third one is health and well-being. And you could see this acceleration, after COVID, where people, realized, how serious is this topic, and everyone is embracing it. And you could feel it, with all the actions, with the green bonds, with the regulations in economies, and at the same time, how much corporations and individuals have embraced climate, part of their new actions and their new behaviors. And everyone felt it, that everyone can make a difference, and the actions are being driven accordingly.
Do you see, Gilbert, this shift, the post-COVID, as being region-specific?
Look, I see this shift being universal. I think with COVID, we realized how interrelated and interdependent we are on this planet, and we have one planet, so we need to take care of it. And when you look at the floods, the weather peaks, the fires, and all the unusual climate events, they happened all over the world. They didn't touch one specific region. So we could see, for example, regulators acting very quickly. In Europe, with the EU Green Deal, we could see the US, embracing again, climate change as a key priority. And at the same time, we see this featuring in all the core conversations with consumers all over the world, and they are shifting their behaviors and actions accordingly.
In the current environment, what have you, Gilbert, observed to be critical pivots for or against the development and wide-scale practice of sustainability?
Yeah, if you reflect over the last maybe 5-6 years, we are starting to have global norms. So if you start with the SDGs, the United Nations SDGs, were issued at the back end of 2015. So we started having a common language and a common platform that everyone could look at. And, here, obviously, all the climate-related actions and the sustainability, areas were very well featured. So now we have a roadmap. And then, with the COP21 in Paris, awareness has been risen. People started taking actions, around the 1.5 degrees commitments. And, since then, it has been a journey. It has been a journey for corporations. It has been a journey for leaders, and it has been a journey for consumers. Everyone is on this journey. Some are more advanced than others, but I think there is a willingness and a to support each other, to hold hands and exchange best practice. So we got to deliver, the goals that we have that are bold, that are ambitious, in a good way, which will be good for the planet, good for corporations, good for governance, and good for consumers too.
And how is Firmenich responding to evolving ESG, evolving regulatory, and evolving consumer values and priorities around CSR, Gilbert?
Yeah. Look, when you look at Firmenich, Firmenich's journey around responsibility and commitment to planet, commitment to society, and commitment to doing the right things by consumers, by communities, has always been part of our DNA as a company. When you look at our values and the values that we call in at Firmenich les fondamentaux, part of our values, one of the core values has been durabilité, and durabilité is the equivalent of sustainability in French. And these values were written back in 1956. So it tells you that as a family-owned company, Firmenich, had already sustainability part of its core values. And if you go back to like 1991, was the first sustainability charter that Firmenich has signed. And since then, we have, more than embraced sustainability, part of our key leadership behaviors. And that's why we feel extremely proud that, we are one of, the leading companies in our industry. We lead our industry, and we are part of leading companies in FMCG, in this space. And to give you a few examples, first, if you look at CDP, and CDP, assesses over 10,000 companies every year around their sustainability credentials. You have only 2 companies in the world that received AAA from CDP 3 years in a row. And here I'm talking about A for water, A for climate, and A for forestry. And they are L'Oreal and Firmenich. It gives you an idea of how high we set the bar. And also, if you look at our Sustainalytics rating, and Sustainalytics do assess the ESG, risks of 14,000 companies around the world. Our ESG rating is 8.6. And as you know, Victor, the lowest the rating is, the better you will be, and the less risk and exposure you have to ESG. And that's where also an area where, we lead our industry, and we are also leaders, part of the FMCG world in which we operate. And I think what is different at Firmenich is that sustainability is not only the accountability of the CEO, the board, the chief sustainability officer at Firmenich. It is the accountability of every one of our employees. People take it to heart. Our 10,000 colleagues all over the world embrace it, and all their actions every single day help us, to move the needle in this direction. And we take bold stands and bold commitments, and we deliver against them. When we were at the COP21 in Paris back in 2015, we set up this ambitious goal, and we took the stand of running at 100% renewable electricity by 2020. Guess what? On February 2020 last year, we've announced that we're running 100% of our facilities around the world at 100% renewable electricity. So we set stands, and we deliver against them. And we took the opportunity earlier this year, to announce, our bold goals for 2025 and 2030. And we are committed to become carbon neutral by 2025. We know it's bold. We know it's ambitious. We know it's well ahead of other companies and governments around the world, but we are committed to getting there. And, with our colleagues, with our suppliers, we will be working hand in hand to be able to deliver against this great ambition that is good for our company, good for our consumers, good for our customers, and definitely good for our lovely planet.
Has there been an acceleration or change of focus in Firmenich during the COVID crisis?
Yes, I think, Victor, we saw this acceleration not only at Firmenich, all over the world. Look at consumers, the way they shop. You could look at few indicators. I mentioned the green bonds. Look at the consumers buying local. Look at flexible working when people who can work from home, so they use less public transport and less transportation. Look at the rate of hybrid and electric cars and the shift by corporations and global companies in this space. The consumer shifts are there. And obviously, as a company, we are all about, tapping into these consumer insights and, planning, ahead of them. And at the same time, we're a good corporate citizen. So we embrace, all of these consumer behaviors. And, we put our feet on the accelerator to make sure that, we keep delivering ahead of them. And these shifts are structural. So these shifts are here for the long term. The awareness is there. Consumers are committed. They are voting, with their wallets and with their feet. We are extremely excited about this new shift and embracing of sustainability by consumers, which is also, reflected on all the actions, by responsible corporations and governments too.
Our last question, Gilbert. What are the most important behavioral changes that both organizations and consumers will need to implement to make an impact?
Yeah. Look, the behavior changes are taking all the actions that every corporation can do to deliver against the carbon neutrality and even turning into carbon positive. So we work, as a company, as Firmenich, we work with 250,000 farmers around the world, to help them, achieve these goals. We engage our 3,500 suppliers all over the world to make sure that, they reduce their emissions. So we are acting together as a community. No one alone, could deliver against this one. You look at companies, you have scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. So in order to deliver against all of these goals, we need to work, our internal systems, to create efficiencies. We want to work with our suppliers. We want to work by reinventing, our modus operandi and our way of working to be able to achieve these goals. It's a great mission. It's an exciting mission. It's a bold journey, but that's the only course that everyone is committed to deliver against this exciting ambition.
On behalf of all Boyden offices worldwide, thank you, Gilbert, for sharing your insights on sustainability and Firmenich.
Victor, I want to thank you. I want to thank you personally, and I want to thank Boyden for their interest in this very important topic and the exposure that you will give to it, because this can only help share best practice and engage everyone along this exciting and definitely very necessary journey. Thank you.